Hi guys, welcome to another discussion, another video, another topic where we can share the things that affects us or somebody we know. So I will encourage you, if you find this channel interesting, if you're just stopping by, you just stumble upon it or somebody shared it with you, press the like button, subscribe, do not forget the bell notification, and share it so we can continue this ripple effect in our society, passing on one positive energy to another. Positivity, we say, and game changers we are. And so thank you again for joining me. And I have dragged someone with me for this video. I am so excited, guys. Meet my husband, Jermaine.
Hi guys, nice meeting you all.
He is excited to be here. And I am excited he is here. Can you see it? And so we are going to have a wonderful discussion, a wonderful motivation today. The discussion is going to be about
Marriages.
Yes. Is marriage overrated in our society? And what should we do when the ugly man rears up his head?
Or the ugly woman.
Or the ugly woman rears up their heads. What do we do? Are the needs of husbands and wives being neglected? Are we entering into marriages with too much expectation? We're going to hear from a man's point of view tonight. I am not going to have a one-sided conversation. And so I tried having this video and I made about 40 or more videos. And I realized that it still could not add up because it was such a broad topic. It was such a broad conversation. I could not have had it alone. So I dragged my husband with me. Remember, we're aiming to be authentic and real. And so we need to hear from each side. We need to communicate as so. So we're going to start off with some of the things that could cause a partner to feel as though they are being neglected. You want to kick this one off?
No, you go. I'll follow. Ladies first.
Ladies first. You see, men, this is not good. But from a female point of view, I do believe that sometimes we can get distracted with our everyday life. I do believe other things will take the place of in which it should not be. Because from a wife's point of view, if she's working or not, she works outside or not, she's still working. And so she will be juggling the house and the home and everything else. And so sometimes she does feel pressured, because I felt that way before. Sometimes I do feel like, he needs to stop and realize that I need him. And so you'll find in marriages that the husband is saying she needs to understand and the wife is saying he needs to understand. But is this just a misconception? Is this a misunderstanding? What could this be?
I think in this situation, it maybe just a case of miscommunication. Sometimes persons are not so clear of what each person supposed to the role is supposed to play in the relationship. So
what do you mean they're not clear about the role? You're the husband and I'm the wife.
Yes, but sometimes the roles of wives and husbands are not really clearly defined to couples when they when they're actually getting married. So they're getting married with limited information and what the roles of both partner is. So somewhere along this may always cause problems.
What are some of the needs though that a man would feel is neglected? Or is it that a man don't feel like his needs are neglected? What is it?
Sometimes, speaking from a male point of view, men, in my case, I remember when we just got married, in the early stage of our marriage, I had a lot of expectations and demands, based upon what older men told me and persons, and what I would have heard about.
Tradition.
Yeah, tradition. Like what marriage is supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And the man must be the man and must put on your foot, and woman supposed to do, woman supposed to do that. And then when you went on marriage and week well after the whole vacation,
The charade and
yeah, over and everybody gone home now. So it's one on one now. And yeah, I say, well, and then, we just get married. Look like somebody that dropped the catch. I'm like, the ball has been dropped already. Like, well, on it, what one? Me like, me dinner late. Coming from work, me tired. What you mean?
Oh.
What you mean? You not cook yet? Me work whole day. And
But is that the traditional needs, or is it the real needs that a man would feel that are being neglected? That his food is not cooked yet, or it's being late, or she hasn't done it.
sometimes is it is either not done by the time he comes off the road or comes home,
Mm-hmm.
or it is taking too long. It's taking too long. So sometimes we can go into marriages with high expectations, and sometimes this kind of cause some dark, some
Mm-hmm.
dark, some dark roads to come up very early in the relationship. And
So just to be clear, you are saying that it's not the needs per se that are being neglected. It is the expectation of the individual that causes you to feel as though the person is being neglecting you. But mark you, there are some wives that they are neglectful too.
yes, some in some relationship, either partners can be neglectful in carrying out some of their roles. Like a wife know that she's supposed to do like the basics, house,
She's
store.
supposed to.
Not supposed to. It's
Mm-hmm.
like it is required of her.
Okay. Okay.
Like to do these things, and the man's supposed to bring in bread.
Because she is the homemaker.
And the man's supposed to bring in bread, and that's that. But in modern times, relationship and in terms of marriages are changing. Both the wife and the husband is working. So
Mm-hmm.
when the woman goes out to work and she has to pick up the kids, or go to daycare and pick up kids and come back home to get dinner ready and all that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and at the same time preparing homework for our children and all that stuff. Or just if there is no children involved yet, but just the case of she going out to work and coming home. Sometimes she just naturally tired,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes the man or the husband or the men disregard that as an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
Because in his expectation of coming to marriage, his food supposed to be prepared,
Mm-hmm.
whether she's working or not, and
Mm-hmm.
whether she's tired or not, it's supposed to be prepared.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that's a take for me, where I said certain expectation or needs are are not met. So
Yes.
that's just one insight.
What I want to clarify though, because yes, some things are expected of the wife, and what we don't want to forget is that though you are saying not to come with all these expectation as tradition would teach us, but then a wife should understand her role and a husband should understand his role as a husband and meet each other together, because it is not tradition that is going to
Relationship
make
work.
the marriage work.
No.
It is two people with an understanding and coming together. Don't add too much pressure to either party. And so I do agree with you, though, that it is sometimes not what the needs may be that are being neglected. It is the expectations of each person. And so despite the expectation or whatever it is, it is also good for husband and wife to make sure they spend ample time together to really, it is not in the initial state of the marriage that needs that courting session. It needs to be carried through. It is not called courting at that time. It is, you have to continue dating your wife or your husband. You have to now become creative to make sure that you keep that person in tow, and make sure that you carry out your daily duties with that person in remembrance, and making sure that you're not falling short. And if you do fall short, I would love to encourage husbands and wives, don't become bashful, don't become rude or name calling or things like these. When you call somebody a name, you can't take it back.
Encourage them.
Yeah. And another thing that my husband is always saying, you were talking to me not too long ago about this, about self-love and making sure that you are sturdy.
Each person comes in a relationship complete. Don't come in a relationship hoping for a person to fill the gaps that is lacking. In your life. Because that might become a problem. What if that person and that partner cannot fill that gap? Then right there is almost like a downturn for that relationship.
Yes, so self-love is really important.
Yes, coming complete. Don't just don't come in a relationship with the expectation of someone to make you feel old. Because if that is not fixed before you go into a relationship, problem already.
Okay, so one of the issues, and I hope you guys are writing this down or remembering the pointers as they do come, because what he's saying is that, one, it's not necessarily the needs that are not being met, is the expectation of the individual that you come with. And then two, he's saying, do not come into the relationship depending on somebody to make you whole, but come in whole so you two, as the whole that you are, can become that infused together. So and these are good pointers, these are really good pointers, and we're hearing from a male perspective. And he's not even just talking from a man's perspective, he's talking generally on some cases. And so Jermaine, I really would want you also to go a little bit more in depth of what does it take from a man's perspective. Say, for example, you have a wife that and you can use some examples. Feel free to use examples, not the ones that will make me look too bad, right? Right, ladies? Don't want to look too bad. Now, to say, what are some of these things, that some situations that might pop up, just to help our viewers, just to help those people that are listening to us at this point. What are some of those issues that may arise in marriages that are likely to happen across the board, and how did you deal with it?
Alright, for me, um, there are a lot of things that can just go wrong in a relationship. To list some, starting with petty arguments that would lead to huge, huge bad endings. A lot of miscommunication, a lot of misunderstanding, a, a lot of there's a lot of stuff that could have been avoided and could have been fixed.
Yes.
And so maybe going to some one of the first thing, not even first thing, you would your person say, see me and come live with me are two different things. So we go back to this old tradition, yeah, that I think should be necessary. Going into relationship where persons wanted to get married, courting. I mean, try to know the person as the best you can, no matter how long it takes. To know that person, because remember, you're especially when you're planning to get married, you're planning to live your entire life with that person. So the more you court a person, the more you see pretty much some ways about that person, some attributes of that person, and you have to question yourself: will I want to live all my days, the rest of my life, with these attributes or these ways of a person? So courting, I think, is key. Another, I think, is get as much knowledge one can, read materials, listen to motivational videos on the internet and so forth, and magazine, literature, and and counseling also. These things, that will shed as many as possible lights on relationship and what makes them work.
So you said petty arguments,
Yeah.
right? And now you're also saying knowledge.
Yeah.
So we need to get enough knowledge in a relationship.
Yes.
About what?
And what makes a relationship works, and how a woman is wired in terms of thinking.
Is there even going to be a book on such? Is
Yes.
there a book on such?
Yes.
Can that book be trusted? Is it made by a man?
Yes. There are literature material out there that
how a woman is wired.
Yes, and our man is wired also. Maybe not fully, but it gives us idea. Like how men think and how women think. So these things would ease.
I think some of these books you will only find how to deal with and I don't think fully you can understand a female or
True.
or a man.
Very true.
Some of these books are like some you can relate to, and some really out of the box. You just have to take what belongs to you. This is like having a newborn baby, and you see a million books out there on how to raise a baby, but then your baby is just so different that yes, some of the things might be related to, but I don't think we can really be on point.
No.
Can we?
No. I think some of it will help. Maybe not all literature out there, but some I think would be of use. To in terms of getting that knowledge. To understand a partner. From a male or from a female point of view. So, get that knowledge and understand it and apply it to the relationship. And and see how best it works for you. That's just one of the things that would ease petty arguments and all that stuff, and misunderstanding, miscommunication, and that will lead to bitterness, like, and end up in final divorce. Yeah, so
You know, I like to relate to real life things. My husband just gave you a theoretical version of things. He's the theory version and I'm the practical version.
Professor.
Yes. He's called the professor. And so I believe through my experiences, and I'm now not going to tell you what my experience is to match with yours. No, it can't match with yours because you are the one going through your situation. And from a female's perspective, and he was so right, it is the expectation that you go into marriage for. And it is not that your needs are not to be met. We're not saying that. What we're saying is that the expectation that you have for your partner, eradicate that. Keep an expectation for yourself. Expect yourself to, and this is for both male and female, expect yourself to fulfill the needs of your partner. Not place an expectation on your partner to fulfill your needs.
Yes.
Place the expectation on yourself. Place the marker on yourself. Because remember, we're starting with self first. And I'm saying this, and trust me, our marriage has never been sugar coated.
No.
We're not sugar coated. We're not drummed up into a fairy tale life.
9 rough years.
I mean, it has been, yeah, it's not all 9 rough years.
No, well, I mean, like 9 years with rough patches.
Yeah, we've had
and many good times.
We have had good times. We have had rough patches. We have had to, go down on our belly and bawl and pray and really go down in some serious sackcloth or ashes for our marriage. But we're telling you that this is what it takes. So young couples, young married people, if this is what you're going through, the pains, and by no means we are not at any time at all sanctioning any physical abuse happening any marriage at all.
No, definitely. No.
And what we're saying to you is speak a little softer. Place the expectation on yourself and not on your partner. Because when we place an expectation on the partner, that is when we're now going to be disappointed, because that partner is an individual with their own mind, with their own thoughts, with their own emotions, with their own needs, with their own aspiration. And then when you take it from that and you put on another expectation on top of them, you're going to apply pressure. And he rightfully said that tradition sometimes is what people use to put in. And let me tell you a story. When we got married, not I, we. When we got married, I was off the mindset, because we got married in church. We were both in church. He met me in church, and so he came along. He has met his rose in the garden, and he's about to pick his rose, so he came to the area in which his rose was, and we got married, and I thought that marriage was long frock, all up look, and so he met me, we were vibrant and we were nice and we were bubbly and we were going on and all of these things. And then when marriage closed in, it was like chew up self.
Everything stopped.
So I had to now learn and understand that it's okay to, yes, you're in church, but it's okay to look sexy for your husband. It is okay to do this type of thing. When you take the expectation from yourself, want to please the person that is with you. And when you please the person that is with you, come on, talk with me, because I don't want this to look like it's a scripted thing.
I'm with you.
It is okay to give yourself to your partner in such a, and those were my struggles. I don't know if anybody can relate to it. Those are my struggles. And then I find that churches don't talk about marital
Taboo topics.
you see, him cover it and sugarcoat it. Marital sex.
Taboo topics in church.
And intimacy with one another. And intimacy does not always mean sex. Intimacy is togetherness. And so I had to learn that. And he can, speak on it, because there were times he would come home and I'm tired and I'm just drained, and I'm looking for him to come in with nice words, and him not say me tired and me in my all raggedy working clothes and me sweaty and pick me and nag me head and me frustrated, and me wanting to come in with roses and champagne and all these things, when he too has an expectation coming home and seeing this woman now look distraught and all these things. He's like shocked. He's like, okay.
And coming in with my problems too.
And coming home with his problems, and he's expecting me to greet him at the door with kind words and take it. And this is and we were newly married. We did not get that guideline. I mean, nobody told us about these things. We had to learn these things
and unlearn them. And
unlearn the things we thought were the right ones, and then learn the right ones, become compatible with each other. We're still learning, because there are things that takes time to work through. We have to understand each other and want to work through it. It takes two. It's not one person pulling and the next person pushing.
Can I say something? One of the things that sometimes we must understand, going into marriages, when you're in a relationship or in a marriage, that's the topic we are on, right? We might be facing some situations and thinking that this must not be so. I mean, growing up in all that old fairy tale stuff, I'm not that person who advocate, don't let a child watch too much of these fairy tale ending stuff, because it actually transcend into their adult life, and they care over this expectation.
Mills and Boons and the romance novels.
I mean, this ever after, which in reality it is definitely not so. So I would say persons, coming into marriages in this sense, they would actually just come with that open mind, and in terms of, it's almost like a new frontier, and they're gonna just hold each other, brace each other, support each other along this new journey. So just don't come into marriage as if like you know it all, and it is so, and it should be so, and not having any flexibility. And always remember this: not all rough patches or obstacle in a marriage is almost
the end of the marriage.
No, is almost like a curse. Like it's almost like
yes.
Sometimes remember, if you're in a marriage and maybe like in a good time they look at you and say, "Boy, honey, boy, boy, I love you and you love me, and oh boy, we have been married 5 years and 10 years and 20 years, and and marriages have to get tested."
Yes.
To show.
Yes.
To show if they're really authentic.
Yes.
Whether they're gonna be tested at the, day 1, day 2, month 1, month 2, year 1, year 2, 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
they have to be tested.
Yes.
So sometimes situation develop in marriages, you know, before any form of separation or divorcement. It just sometimes it's just a means of test to see if the relationship, you know what I mean, is really mean what it means. So yeah, that's one of my take on it now. So not all rough patches in marriages are really like you must not go through this or we must avoid it. Sometimes you have to go through it to really
Yes.
see if the marriage is really
Yes.
authentic. So that's one of my thing on marriages also.
Yes. So you have heard it, and this is just part one, because we realize marriage is a broad topic, and so we will come back with more on marriage, but we just want to encourage the young people, newlyweds, those who are courting and with the desire of marriage. We want to encourage you that it is not a death sentence.
No.
It is something sanctioned by God. It is something that God has a covenant with. And so marriage is a beautiful thing. Just lose the expectations that you have of the person and place the expectation on yourself. Not too much pressure though, but place it on yourself so that you are not just wanting, but you give to encourage the person to give back to you. And it is okay, because sometimes in a relationship one person is at this level and the other person is here.
Yes.
But you have to have the patience to know that the person that is here is
Yes.
gonna come up to here
True,
and
true.
meet you. We have no perfect people.
No perfect.
I was never perfect. My husband had to deal with some serious things where I'm concerned,
I was
because
not
I was a
perfect
little
either.
bully.
I wasn't
And you know,
perfect
sometimes I have to pull back myself. And there were a lot of times I had to apologize to my husband. I had to have my tail between my leg and go back and say I'm sorry. A few weeks after we got married, I took up my marriage certificate to tear it to threads because I I said I could not deal with this. But
Yeah, I was there. So
understand, because there are things that I find issues with where he's concerned, but I have to also understand that this is not perfection. This is a work in progress.
always.
This is building, loving, and encouraging each other, and understanding that each other are a gift. Yes, you are a gift as well. But let me tell you something, it is better to give than to receive.
Yes.
Because when you give, it is an encouragement so that that person gives back to you. We thank you. And is there anything, any last, final say just for this video that you would like to say to married people, young, old, and those aspiring to get married?
Sorry. Yes, to our viewers again, remember, anything you would like us to say, you can comment below, like and share, and to say if we have missed anything and if we need to add something else on. Because we learn from other persons, other persons and other channel, and other persons learn from us. So
Motivational people.
So let us know if there is anything that we need to,
add to this
add
channel.
to this to this conversation. So I say in final, remember, just go into marriage with an open mind, not too much.
But how
of a
could we
eye.
not say this? Don't forget God.
Well, yeah. Don't forget
Do
God.
not forget
Don't
God.
forget God. Don't forget God. He is the source. He is the source. When all fails, He won't. So thank you again, guys. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. And I do hope you appreciate, love, and enjoyed this conversation. If you do, press the like button, subscribe, share. Do not forget the bell notification. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful night. Protect yourself from the heat. Love, peace, joy, happiness. Have self-love. Love yourself, because it's when your cup is full you can pour out to others. Let's cause a ripple effect. Thank you to my husband for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in. Even if it's just buck up on this video. Thank you. Love. Bye.